you see my screen as well? Okay, great. So this is going to be a very focused session on interview questions, how to crack AWS interview. So let's say how do you do the preparation, and how do you appear for the interview, right? So now there are only 3 slides here, and I'll also show you a few questions. We'll practice a few questions. I mean 10 questions. So the purpose is not to give you all the questions, because there can be thousands of questions, which is not possible for anyone to prepare. So using the 10 questions that we're going to practice here, I just wanted to show you what kind of question you can expect, right? So after that, then one more person from Intellipaat, they'll take over the call. All right, so let's start. So the first thing is, how do you crack the AWS interview? Okay, so there are a few tricks, and not tricks actually. There are a few processes or few ways, and the first process. Okay, few questions. No, we are not going to discuss migration at all. We are going to talk about how to clear AWS interviews. Okay, if it is, this is not a migration class, by the way. So this is how to clear AWS interview, and I'll focus both for solutions architect. I'll talk both for solutions architect and AWS admin. Okay, so I'll tell you for AWS admin how do you prepare, and for a solutions architect how do you prepare. Now the reason that the session has been this was basically sorry, this was asked in AWS interview. I'm not sure what you are talking about, Ajay. So this is not a class on AWS session. This is not a session on AWS. This is a session on how to crack AWS interview, considering you know AWS, or you are going to start learning AWS. So I'm not going to cover the migration session here. I hope that is clear. So this is not a session on any topic. I'm just going to tell you how, if you want to crack an interview, what you should be focusing on, how do you go about it, and I'm expecting either you have done the AWS training or you are going to take the AWS training. So starting this session, I mean, again, it can be at the end of the training, or it can be at the beginning of the training. So if it is at the beginning of the training, how to focus on your AWS learning journey. And if it is at the end of the training, if you have not focused well, if you have not done things well, how do you do a course correction? Okay. So is the agenda clear here? Can I get some yes and no's? Okay, excellent. Thank you. There's someone has raised hand. Pavan. So Pavan, let me unmute you and you can ask a question. So I have unmuted you. Pavan Katti, I have unmuted you. So you can unmute yourself and ask question.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the agenda is clear. Yeah.
Okay, so if you do not have any questions, don't raise any hand. Raise hand only when you have questions. Okay, so I'm going to mute you again. Yeah. Okay, so the first thing is there's a question from Ajay. Yeah, Ajay, go ahead.
Hi, Soumyadeep. I got a question like, how do we connect on-premise setup with the AWS setup? How do we synchronize them? like a few workloads are set up in on-premise, and a few premises are set up in the AWS as well as GCP. This question was asked in an AWS interview.
Right. So for that you have to see. For that you have to know AWS. As I said, this is not a session on AWS. So for that I have to take a session of direct connect or VPN, connecting AWS with on-premise. I hope it has been done in your training, or if you are
No,
going
actually,
to take.
I was part of AWS course which you have taught in July 6th. Like we didn't
Mhm.
discuss anything on direct connect, or you said that in the last thing you'd be discussing about the migration part in the month of
Yes.
August.
Okay. So see, in the month of August, I don't know. The batch might have been changed, and I definitely talked about connecting on-premise with AWS. I definitely talked about direct connect. Yes, I did not discuss the entire process as such because that's an advanced topic. So that is something which you have to read yourself. That is not covered in the session. That is beyond the scope of the AWS training, which Intellipaat provides, because that is that is basically the essential services. So if you
Yes.
are preparing, hold on a second. If you are preparing for AWS interview, these are the things that you should know. And I hope I don't know whichever session you are in. I have definitely told you this, that before going to the interview, you should take at least 6 months for your preparation. If you have done it,
Yes.
then it's fine. If you have not, this is the wrong time to ask that question. So you have to prepare for yourself. That's an advanced topic. So first you have to clear. You have to hold on a
Yeah,
second.
to add on to what Somadeep is saying, Ajay, I think if you go to your self-paced course, you'll find the module for AWS migration. So migration as a topic is included as a self-paced in the course. So if you go through the self-paced course, towards the end you'll find AWS migration.
Okay, that's great. Okay, no worries. I'll definitely go through it.
And one more thing, Ajay, that I had told in the session also that you have to prepare yourself a lot. You have to do a lot of homework. Don't expect that once the training is over, you'll become an expert. You'll have to focus. You have to give your time also, and that is one of the tricks to crack AWS interview. Don't expect that after the training you'll become a superman in AWS or any cloud for that matter. That is not possible for any human. Okay, so not only you, it's not possible possible for anyone. So the first suggestion is that you have to do a lot of hands-on on the essential services first. Okay, so what is meant by essential services? Meaning that what are the services that are taught in the class. You have to be really expert on those, and you can only become expert on those if you do enough hands-on.
Yeah.
So if you are expecting that you are taking the training and after a month you'll sit for an interview and will be able to clear it, typically that is not possible. Because you see, the thing is that, again, this is for everyone, not for you. This is one of the tips to crack AWS interview. So basically there are so many things that are covered, right? So you know that Intellipaat starts with EC2, then VPC, then Route 53, load balancer, auto scaling.
Yes.
Yeah, please go on mute. Please go on mute if your question is done. Okay, so now the other thing is, now Route 53, RDS. In RDS there are multiple databases, then there's Aurora, then there's Elasticache, high level of Redshift. Okay, so DynamoDB, then SQS, SNS. So basically a lot of things are covered. And all of them are different topics. All of them are different technology as a whole. Right. So again, you have to be a superhuman to understand everything at one go. So the first trick is that you should take your time before sitting on the interview. Definitely take the training, and after the training, if again that depends from person to person, I'd suggest anywhere between 4 to 6 months. You have to do rigorous practice. rigorous hands-on on the essential services. Once you are hands-on on the essential services, then you can go ahead and see the other services like Direct Connect, which is an advanced topic. You do not need to know Direct Connect. You do not need to know how Direct Connect is set up, for example. But if you know the essential services, in fact, VPC, if you know VPC well, you'd understand how Direct Connect is used to make the connection between on-premise and AWS. Don't expect that you'll see Direct Connect and you'll understand it by itself. No, that is not possible. In fact, I don't suggest anyone to go inside of Direct Connect. For example, again, this is just an example. So the first trick is that you have to do a lot of hands-on, as much as you can. All assignments, there's a self-paced course also. There are assignments there also. I would suggest to do the assignments at least 3 to 4 times, each assignment. Okay, because those are not simple questions. Those are not simple assignments. Those are pretty complicated. So that is the first question. Sorry, first trick. Okay, and okay, I see some raising hands. So I'll. There's a question from Inkozi. Okay, Inkozi, I have unmuted you. You can ask your questions. So if you want to unmute yourself, you have to raise your hand. Then I'll unmute you, and then you can ask your question. Is there any question, Inkozi Kemper? Okay, so there are a few questions in the chat board. So let me answer those. Is it one topic? The answer is no. 6 months for entire AWS. Okay, so it is not a single topic. All the topics, the essential. So again, I am focusing on the essential services because those are the core services, and everything on AWS is made on top of those core services. Okay, so you have to be really, really sure that you are very much comfortable with the core services. Direct Connect is a very advanced topic, but you should know what Direct Connect is, which is used to connect your on-premise data center and a VPC. So if you know what a VPC is, it will not make sense if you need to have your VPC concept very clear for you to understand Direct Connect, because Direct Connect talks about something called BGP, broader gateway protocol, which is very advanced networking concept. I don't expect you. In fact, the interviewer even does not expect you to know BGP for that matter. Again, just an example. Okay, so just know what Direct Connect does. That should be enough for you. But yes, now how do you talk between your on-premise, let's say on-premise network and VPC? The concept, if you know VPC concept, you can apply the same concept on on-premise also. So in VPC, you have something called network CIDR. You have something called subnets. Sorry, just a second. I'll answer all the questions. So you have something called NAT gateway. So if you know all these concepts, it will be easier for you. Again, you can use the same concept and use the same thing on on-premise also, because more or less it happens the same way. Yes, Shini, why are you sending so many hellos? You have to raise your hand if you have any question.
Hello.
Yes, Faisal, go ahead.
Sir, I have a question that I'm already a student in Intellipaat, and I have chosen the Cloud and DevOps Architect Master course. And we have done many topics in the AWS course like EC2, ELB, auto-scaling, routing, VPC, and there are so many. And we have also done many assignments. So is these all the thing which we have covered is covering the exam, or we have to practice a lot. As you said that you must do practice of the assignment at least 3 to 4 times. So if
Right.
we do that course for the second and third time, and we watch the tutorial and the lecture which sir have given to us, so is it covered the exam or not? We will also do further study on the documentation section from the Amazon or not? It's enough.
You're talking about the exam.
Yeah, I'm talking the exam that we have already covered so many topic in the course and the AWS. And as you said, to all the questions are related to the assignment which Intellipaat is given to us, and you must do the assignment 3 to 4 times. So I am saying that, do we need any more extra material apart from that course from the other website of AWS official, or this course is enough for our exam too?
Yes, so solution architect associate should be okay, but yes, I would definitely suggest you to go through the documentation also and know a little bit more services on a very high level. You do not have to go into details. Okay, so that is one thing. And again, so as I'm saying, if you practice enough, you don't have to worry about your exam so much, because solution architect associate is not that difficult. Okay, so there are few other services which you should go through, like let's say, as I say, direct connect on a high level. Just read the product page or the FAQ for the exam itself. Then there is ops work also. Definitely you do not need to know ops work, but if you go through the product page and the FAQs, should be more than enough. So the preparation for exam is a little different than the preparation for interview, because in interview they'll ask you more real life questions, so you'll not be able to answer those questions unless you have hands-on experience. Again, this is for both solutions architect and admin also. Okay, one second. So I cannot see your raise hand, Srini, but anyway I have unmuted you. You can ask your question.
Yeah, hi, good morning. Just I want to check with you, what are the advanced services? You can list a little bit so that we can go those also.
Advanced services. Okay, let me I can do that. Just a second. You can see my screen. Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. So you're talking about, this is not for exam, okay? It is for
No, only for it. Yes.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. In the meantime, how to configure CDN? Ajay, this should be this. As I said, this is not a session on CDN. That's a very advanced topic that is done using CloudFront. If you are a web developer, then you should use that. You should use, just a second. Yeah, you should know CloudFront. CloudFront is the CDN, and that's an advanced topic. That is one of the things which you might have to take up for your self-study. If you are very much again, I mean, there are more than 180 services in AWS. Okay, remember that, and it is not possible for anyone to understand or to know all those services. Forget about 180. It is not even possible to know 50 services. 50 is a lot of services. Not even, I mean, again, that is less than 1/3, but that is also not possible. So now it depends which type of role you are going to. Okay, so there are multiple roles. For example, let's say you are from application background. You typically go in the application architecture side. If you are from data background or database background, you typically go for big data architect side. Okay, so I'll tell you the services first for the application side, and then let's say for the big data side. These are the typical two different applications that you need to know. Okay, all right. First thing is application advanced services. Amazon EKS and ECS are very important. Now, the thing is that this is a very advanced topic. Even before going into ECS and EKS, you need to know Docker. Docker is not part of AWS. That's a separate topic altogether. If you are from application background, you should know Docker. And then you should know ECS and EKS and ECR also. ECR is similar to Docker Hub. Okay, this is a little advanced. Now, on the basic side, definitely you should know EC2. Elastic Beanstalk is not used that much. Lambda, very important. Then the remaining thing you can skip. Okay, you can know a little bit of AWS Outposts. Again, very high level. You'll never do AWS Outpost. You'll never deliver. You'll never work on AWS Outpost per se. Why? Because you'll know that that's a private data center on AWS. Okay, that's a little bit advanced. So EC2, Lambda is very important. Outposts. Okay, a little bit more advanced on the application side. ECR, ECS, EKS, very important. If you're from application background, you know what microservices are. So if you have done microservices, then you should know these things. Okay, again, these are advanced topics. You'll not be able to go through, you'll not be able to understand ECS and EKS unless you know Docker. Okay, so EC2, Elastic Beanstalk, little bit of Outpost, Lambda, ECR, ECS, EKS. These are for application architects. I mean, people who are into application development. If you don't know AWS, if you have come to, this is the first time you are learning AWS, this is the first time you are into IT, and you are starting your journey using AWS itself, you do not need to know ECR, ECS, and EKS. Okay? Any questions so far? Okay, so on the storage side, S3, very important. EBS. Yes, Inkozi, you can ask your question.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm very much interested in the architecture associate certification. So is there, as far as the job specs go for that line, is there a baseline of knowledge, I mean, that you should have, I mean, that you can, overall, I understand it's a ton of services, and I have no expectation to know and understand all of them. But as far as, I've been a network engineer for a long time. So if you tell somebody you're a network engineer, it's a baseline of knowledge they expect you to have. Is there something like that for the associate architect? And how do I go about getting that and demonstrating that type of baseline?
Sorry, I did not understand your question much.
Okay, let me ask you this. I got a networking background. I've been a networking for a long time.
Okay.
I want to learn the associate architect.
Okay.
Because I want to become a cloud architect. I have experience with private cloud, but I don't have any public cloud experience. So I'm trying to utilize my network experience to be a cloud architect, to be an architect, and how I best go about that with AWS. Did you understand that better?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. So see, if you're from networking background, then again you have a little bit of advantage. So if you're from networking background, typically what happens is that you'll be going into the AWS infrastructure portion, infrastructure as a service, to start with. Okay, so you need to know. So again, essential services you have to know, come what may. Okay, so that is again for anybody, whatever background you have to know the essential services, right? So then after that, if you are from networking background, I would suggest, again, this is not for exam. For your career, I would suggest you get a little bit of high-level overview of application on a very high level. You do not need to go into the details, because see, in cloud architect, when you become a cloud architect, everything merges together. So once you come into AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, you are no more network architect or database administrator or DevOps engineer anymore. So everything merges. Okay, so you need to broaden your experience a little bit. Again, I'm not talking about the exam. For exam, the training and high level overview of some other services are more than enough. For your career, you need to broaden your application level a little bit more. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes. Is there any specific ways to get that broadened experience about the applications? Is somewhere specifically I should look to get that experience?
So see, no, there's no specific way. So basically, you understand. 1 second. Sorry. So what I was saying is that so first understand cloud as a whole. Okay, AWS as a whole. Sorry, and then try to stitch them together. So when you try to stitch them together in the training itself, you'll see there's 3-tier application. Let's talk about. There's a case study also at the end of the session. So you should take those things seriously. You should do those things yourself rather than depending on the trainer. I'm talking about the case study. So that will help you understand how things can be on cloud. So that will give you the starting path. Okay, that will, you can start with that and then proceed forward. Right?
So the case study would be a good starting point and then build out from there.
Right, correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so guys, so again, this is not, there's a question, which are the databases to know, say, okay, so this is not a session on AWS questions and answers. There is a session on how to prepare for AWS interview. Let us be focused on the same. Okay, I'll share this tips and tricks, and then how do you proceed forward. So we'll take the other questions later on. Okay, so now as I say, the first thing is the hands-on and the services that I was talking about. For storage, you need to know S3, you need to know EBS, you need to know EFS, and remaining storage gateway on a high level, it's okay. Remaining, you don't have to focus so much. On the database side, Aurora, Elasticache, DynamoDB, and RDS. These 4 are very, very important. Remaining, you can skip. Okay. Security, identity, and compliance. AWS IAM is very important. High level of directory service, again, okay, you don't have to go into the detail. Remaining, it's not needed that much. If you're from application background, AWS WAF, you can go through it, but don't dig deeper into it. Make sure you are very much comfortable with AWS IAM. Okay. All right. So cryptography PKI, not needed at all. Machine learning, not needed at all. And management and governance. Okay, so here there are few topics like auto scaling, very important. Cloud formation, very important. Cloud trail, CloudWatch. CloudWatch is, again, there's no concept. You just see how to monitor stuff. Cloud trail is, again, very simple, not that complicated. Okay, CloudWatch. CLI for AWS admins, very, very important. Command line interface, you need to know that. AWS config is important. Okay, and remaining, it's not needed that much. You can go through AWS OpsWorks on a high level. Again, don't go into the details. No, there's no PDF as such, Faisal. So, okay, in migration and transfer, go through database migration service, go through schema conversion tool on a high level. It should be spoken in the training itself. It's there in the self-paced course also, so go through it. And on the networking and content delivery, CloudFront, you do not need to know CloudFront in detail, just know what it does. That should be enough. Okay, Route 53, very important. Elastic load balancing. AWS VPC, super important. AWS VPN is covered in VPC itself, so I'll not talk that separately. Media services, not needed at all. Internet of Things, not needed. These 2, end user computing, front-end web service, not needed. Analytics, if you are from analytics background, if you are from database administration background, then analytics is important. So which other things you should know? Amazon Athena. But again, before this, you should know big data development, right? Amazon Athena is important. Cloud search, data pipeline, Amazon EMR, Glue, Kinesis, and Redshift. So if you are from database administration, big data administration, or data warehousing backgrounds, then these are needed. If you are not, don't even bother. For application integration, Amazon SNS, SQS, very, very important. Just go through Amazon MQ and state functions, what it does. Again, on a high level of SWF. If you skip SWF, that is also fine. You don't have to bother about SWF. Business applications not needed. These are not needed. Satellite robotics, sorry, my bad. Where was I? Yeah, satellite robotics, quantum computing, blockchain, AR/VR, these are not needed at all. Billing and cost management, go through it. Again, this is not for certification. This is needed for you to work on AWS. Management console, again, this is not a topic. You already know AWS management console. If you want to become an AWS developer, SDKs are very important. If you are from Java background, you should know AWS SDK for Java. If you are from Python background, you should know AWS SDK for Python. If you are from .NET background, you should know AWS SDK for .NET, so on and so forth. These are not needed, at least right now. Okay, so these are the important topics. Again, this is step number 2. So how do you broaden your experience on AWS? So that is step number 2. Okay. All right. Any questions? There are a few. Hand raised. Nutan, I have unmuted you. You can ask your question. Okay, I'll take only 2 questions because there's not much time. So, see, I cannot repeat it. You can go through the video. The session is being recorded, so go through the video. All right. So, any other questions?
Hello.
This
sir.
is not a 3-hour session. Okay, this is 1.5 hours max. We'll have to finish the questions also. So let's not bog down to the topics. You have recording. You can go through it. Any other question, anybody?
Yes, sir. Is for a newbie, is the projects matter or certificate? Which one will you prefer?
Okay, so I'll take only 3 questions. Okay, not more than that. For newbies, a project definitely would matter. And see, again, you have to understand one thing. If you prepare yourself for project, you do not have to prepare for certification. But the other way around is not true. If you're preparing for certification, you'll only prepare for certification, you'll not gain much knowledge. So don't do exam-oriented study. Exam-oriented study is not good. Either you are a student or you are learning anything. If you study for learning, you do not have to prepare for exam because you'll know the stuff for the exam. Because if you focus on learning, then the things that will cover would be more than what would be asked in the exam. So don't take them separately. Okay, this is the first question. Second question.
Second question is that
No, anybody else? Others? No, not from you. Sai has a question. So I cannot take so many questions from everybody. There's a limited time. Let us respect everybody's time. Sai, I have unmuted you. Any question?
Yeah, hi, I'm audible.
Yes.
Yeah, yesterday on I attended one interview from Deloitte. Like they asked a couple of questions like database migration, how any issues if you face in the middle, and how to take backup, like real-time questions they asked. I need about.
Yeah, you have to practice. So see, whatever I said so far, I have been focusing on practice and hands-on a lot. If you don't do hands-on, you'll not be able to answer those. Right. So you have to be hands-on. Okay, one more thing. I'll not unmute people anymore. This is the last time. After that, you have to ask your questions, type your questions. in the question answer, then I'll answer those questions from there. Okay. So to answer your question, Sai, you have to be hands-on. So without hands-on, it's not possible to answer those interview questions. That's what I've been saying so far. That's what I've been accentuating. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I practiced the the database migration video also. I attend hands-on also, but I didn't came across these type of doubts like how to take backup, like any issues if you face in the middle of migration, those type of.
So as I said, there can be 1,000, 10,000 questions. It's not possible to answer, or it's not possible to discuss all such questions. You have to bring in your expertise also, right? So what kind of issues you face? So if you have not faced any issues while doing hands-on, that means you have not done hands-on properly, as simple as that. If your hands-on was smooth, then you have not practiced well. If you have not faced any error in your entire AWS hands-on, that means you're not practicing well. All right. You have to practice really. That's why I've been saying again and again, rigorous practice. And this thing that I'm saying should answer a lot of your questions. Let us not ask repetitive questions. So as I said, exam, interview, questions like this, all answer to all these are rigorous hands-on. Okay. All right. Okay, Ramnath, I'll unmute you at the end. You can share your experience back then. So just remind me to do so at the end. Okay. All right. So now the next one is just let's go through a few questions. If you can see again, this is definitely not exhaustive. As I say, there can be 10,000 questions. I have taken in my career on cloud, I have taken interviews for more than, I think, 67 was the last round that I did. 1 second. Okay, so now even if I ask 15 questions to each person, that is more than 670 plus, let's say, 335, which is approximately 1,000 questions. So there can be a lot of questions, but you have to understand one thing, that interview questions would always be focused on real-time scenario. No one is going to ask you, how do you launch an EC2 instance? No one is going to ask you, how do you create a security group? People will ask you, let's say, how do you create what are the things that you have to take care of when you create a 3-tier architecture, when you create an application, or when you're creating a VPC for a 3-tier architecture? Okay, again, this is a simplified question. Again, the question would not be so simple. So for example, let's say the first question, you have an application. I hope you can see this. Let me increase the size. So you have an application deployed in AWS, but because of security reasons, all of them have been launched in private subnet. NAT gateway can't be used too. How do you get software repositories to those machines? Now, if I tell you the answer, so real-time questions, you cannot find those in documents, right? So these are the things that you can answer only on practice. Okay, all right. How do you get the IP address of an application load balancer? What do you see when you try to do so? Where you can find bash and host. Bash and host has been covered in the training. So go through the training video or the self-paced video. Bash and host is there in both the places. So go through it. Okay, how do you get the IP address of an application load balancer? Can anybody try to venture this out? Any answer? No answer. Okay, so I don't know about So I think all the trainers showed you in the Route 53 session that how do you get the IP address of a domain name? All the trainers must have shown you that if you have attended the training. So can you Can you answer that? How is that possible? How do you find out, let's say www.google.com, how do you find out the IP address behind that domain name? Name server, trace route is another, yes. Ping ns lookup, yes, ns lookup is the command. So again, this will not be asked in the interview, okay? So the question here is that try ns lookup. So the answer for this one is bash and host. Again, don't worry about these answers because if this session is recorded, you can go through this. NS lookup is the answer. So using NS lookup, what you see, try that. So if you do an NS lookup of the domain name of the load balancer, you'll see multiple IP addresses. Why multiple IP addresses are shown when you do so? There's a reason for that, and that reason you'll be able to understand if you know the architecture of application, architecture of load balancer, which has been covered in the training. Go to the architecture of load balancer, and then you'll be able to understand why we'll see multiple IP addresses for the load balancer. Okay, all right. Question number 3. You have a retail application set up on AWS. Electronics section is in VPC 1 and home appliance section in VPC 2 in the same region. The payment component needs to communicate to both the mentioned sections. Where do you place those? Tell me the application design for the scene. Okay, so this is an application design question. This actually, see, don't get too much nervous about this last line. Tell me the application design. Actually, they are not asking for application design. If you see, they're asking for the network topology. So one is in VPC 1, electronics is in VPC 1, home appliance is in VPC 2. The payment component needs to communicate to both the mentioned sections. Where do you place those? It's a network topology question. So if you know VPC well enough, you'll be able to answer this. So the answer is, can anybody try? 3-tier is not the answer, no. VPC 3 in the same region, exactly, VPC peering, correct. So you create another VPC where the payment gateway or the payment component would be placed. VPC 1 would be paired with VPC 3, and VPC 2 would also be paired with VPC 3. So see, this is not an application design. So even though the question says, tell me the application design for the same, the answer is actually a network topology. Correct. All right, design a disaster recovery system of an application with 2 hours of RPO and 12 hours of RTO. So what is RPO and RTO? This is there in the self-paced video. So if you know what is RPO and RTO, it will be very easy to answer this. Now, what is RPO? RPO is recovery point objective. Just let me give you a high level idea about this question. Now there is a very common question. Okay, you can get this question literally. This is one of the favorite questions of the interviewers. So RPO is recovery point objective, which means that the time, sorry, how much data can you afford to lose? So that's what RPO says. 2 hours means you can lose data for 2 hours. Okay, so that is point number 1. What is RTO? RTO means how long will it take to bring up the DR region. Okay, so application on the DR region. Okay, so now how do I answer this? So first is RPO. When you talk about RPO, you need to know what an RPO is. As I said, it is about just a second. So it is about the time that you can afford to lose data. So they are talking about data. And where do you place data? You place data in RDS databases. Correct. Now, there's an answer that you can deploy backup for every 2 hours. No, that is not feasible. What if your database size all combined is, let's say, 10 terabytes? Do you think you can take a backup of 10 terabytes in 2 hours? Not possible. What do you do? That answer has been discussed in the training. And the answer is read replica. So if you create a read replica, you get an RPO much lesser than 2 hours, because your replication lag is somewhere in seconds. So create a read replica of your database systems. Okay, what about application? How do you take backup of application? That is also covered. So application, you have AMIs, right? So what are AMIs? AMIs are the so basically you launch an EC2 instance, you install all your applications, you put your code in the EC2 instance, and then you create an AMI. And you can copy an AMI across to another region. So what do you do if it's 2 hours? Then application does not have any data. So on the application side, you just have to make sure that your AMIs are available in the DR region also. Okay. And on the DR region, then you launch the application just the way you launch on the primary side. Okay, question number 6. Okay, question number 5. Even though you have set up auto scaling, new instances are not starting. What could be the reason? This is a certification question rather than an interview question. So, any thoughts? Any answers here? No, the workloads have reached its limits. Let's say one of the answers is it has reached its maximum limit. So let's say minimum in the auto scaling group, minimum number of EC2 instances is 2, and the maximum is, let's say, 5. It has already reached 5. Again, this is typically in a certification question, but it is asked in the interviews also. Okay, you have an S3 cross-region replication, but you see that the objects are not being replicated. What could be the possible reasons for the same? Think about it. Write down your answers. I'll be back in a moment. All right, I'm back. Desired instance should be mentioned well. Okay, I'm not sure. What is connect metric? There's nothing called, correct metric or alarm not triggered. Alarm for what? Choosing of regions, permission issue, yes. So see, when you set up AWS cross-region replication, You don't have to do anything. No alarm is needed, no matrix is needed. S3 does it automatically as long as the S3 service itself has an IAM role attached to it, which can put object in the other bucket in the other region. So this is a permission issue. So this is not, so as you can see, this is not an S3 question as such. This is mainly IAM. So if you practice enough cross-region replication, there's an option when you set up cross-region replication where it says create a role. So if you have not done hands-on, you'll never know that that exists, right? So that's why hands-on is needed. Okay. Question number 7. Your organization has IBM DB2 databases installed on hundreds of EC2 instances. As they are not managed services, DBAs are needed to maintain and govern those databases. How do you allow DBAs in your corporate network to log into those DB2 database servers? Okay. IAM is not the answer. No. It's DB2 on EC2 instance. So you want DBAs to on your corporate network to connect to a database which is on EC2 instance. How do you do that? SSH is the answer, yes. So basically, what do you do? Through the internet, definitely no. So that is not the answer. So what you do? You create a, let's say, Bastion host, SSH into the Bastion host. And from Bastion host, you SSH into the DB2 EC2 instances where DB2 data servers are installed. Okay. Again, as you can see, this is more on network topology again, because it talks about how to allow people from your network. So now, what about Bastion host and your network? Now here, you need to know that, okay, the AWS VPC would be connected to on-premise data center either using VPN or using direct connect. That's all you need to know. Okay, so the interviewer might ask, how do you make sure that the connection is there between your AWS VPC and your on-premise data center? So you say, okay, you can use VPN or direct connect. Now, no one expects you to set up VPN or have experience in VPN setup or direct connect setup, but you should know, okay, these two can be used. Okay. Question number 8. You have an application like Instagram to upload your photos by users. Users take selfies using their mobile phones and upload those to the application. We are planning to host the application on AWS. How do you design such application? What AWS components would be needed? Now, see the question again. It talks about how do you plan to host the application on AWS? How do you design such application? This is not an application design question, remember that. To read the question carefully, it says, users take selfies using their mobile phones and upload those to the application, which are hosted on AWS. What AWS components would be needed? So you can use either Lambda or EC2 instance. Now, the photos are uploaded by the application rather than the users directly. So the if it is EC2 application, 1 second. Oh, sorry, as I was saying, if the application on EC2 instance, either on Lambda, let's say that is on EC2 instance, Instagram Live application can be on EC2 or Lambda also. Now the question is, how do you upload the photo from EC2? How EC2 uploads the photo? See, the application is on EC2. It can be in Python, it can be Node.js, it can be Java. How do you upload that to S3? Now, again, here, the question is about permission. So you need to have an IAM role attached to the EC2 instance, which will be used by the application to upload the photo in S3. So what AWS components would be needed? It would need S3, it would need AWS IAM, it would need AWS EC2 or AWS Lambda. Of course, auto scaling, load balancer, VPC, all those things are also there, which are implicit. You should tell those things implicit from my side. Okay. All right. Question number 9. The global application is hosted on AWS and its database is placed on RDS. Now the problem is that the number of users is increasing and you are getting performance issues ever since. What are the troubleshooting steps and how can you solve the problem? Mention the steps. So the troubleshooting steps is typically for the database administrators. This is not for AWS architects. But how do you solve the problem of the performance issue? So monitor CPU usage again. Why do you need to monitor? Because you already know that there's a problem. Monitoring CPU usage will not help you solve the problem. It will tell you that there is a problem. Auto scaling, you cannot do auto scaling on RDS. RDS is vertically scaled. You cannot scale it horizontally. So what would be the solution? Think about it. Say again, the situation or the service has been discussed in the training. Load balancer, no. How to use load balancer? So if you use load balancers, you if you use load balancers would be for application, not for database. Exactly. One answer is read replica. Very good, Ajay. So read replica is the answer which can be used to scale. That is one answer. Any other problem, any other solution? Read replica is correct, because if you create read replica, what will happen is that it will share the load of the reads. Anything else? Let's say, what about writes? Now the interviewer says, okay, read replica is fine. What about writes? Anything else? Okay, so can't you use SQS for the same as a shock absorber in between the application and the database? So use SQS, and SQS can scale unlimitedly. You do not need to bother about SQS scaling. What do? You put the applications there, use it as queue, and then use applications and ask those applications to load the data on the databases at its own pace, which is comfortable for the database. Hey, dorjata bondo kor na mama. Sorry about that. So as I was saying, so can't you do that? So these are the things that you have to see. As I said, you have to know to use those, all the services collectively as an architect. That is the role of an architect. Okay. All right. So RTS storage auto scaling. Ramnath, you need to know what storage auto scaling is. Storage auto scaling is completely different than this problem. So storage auto scaling will not help solve your purpose. Storage is for storage. How does it solve the problem of user? Right. Okay. Now, question number 10. You are working for a customer which has AWS resources. For security reasons, customer is not willing to create AWS account for vendors. How to get access to the customer's AWS account in such scenario? So let me rephrase the question if you have not understood it. So let's say I am a customer and you are working for me. I don't want to create an account for you in I don't want to create a user in my account. Okay, but you have an AWS account and you want to work for me. How do you do that? I don't want to create any IAM user in my AWS account. So how do I enable you to use my AWS resources? Because that is needed, because it'll be, let's say you're a service provider. For me, how do you do that? IAM is high level answer. What is AWS organization is not the answer. The purpose of AWS organization is completely different than what I'm saying here. See, you are a service company. I'm a product company, let's say. I cannot create an AWS organization. I cannot, because you are not part of my organization. Yes, Kumar Raja. The answer is roles. So cross account IAM roles. That is the answer. Right. So that has again been discussed in the training. So see, you need to know the usage of the services. Okay. So if you don't know the usage, again, how do you know the usage enough? You need to practice rigorously. You need to face a lot of issues, a lot of errors. Then only you'll be able to learn. Okay. So that's all. Again, as I said, there can be thousands of questions. It's not possible to cover all those thousands of questions, because there can be a lot of questions. So the idea here is to make you understand what kind of questions you can get and how do you prepare. So as you can see, the preparation is actually same for everybody. So you have to bring in your existing experience also. You need to literally do a rigorous hands-on. And then you need to know how to use the services collectively together, which is again given by there's a use case, right, which is there. So you can use the use case also. And there are self-paced learning also. You can go through it. There are training also. So see, whatever questions I have, all these 10 questions can be rephrased to make another set of 20-30 questions. The answers are same, and all of them have been covered. So if you have understood the purpose of those services, you'll be able to answer these questions. Now, if you do exam-oriented study, that's why things are a little different in exam-oriented study. They will literally only want to learn the services to clear the exam. So I don't suggest that. Take your sweet time, 4 months, 6 months. You have enough time. Don't worry. Cloud is not becoming saturated for at least 2 to 3 years more. So you have time. So take anywhere between 4 to 6 months. You can take more also. So don't see, the mantra is one, that you have to be very focused. Don't rush into it. If you try to rush into it, trust me, you'll jumble up the services and it will not help you. Okay, trust me. I mean, I'm telling you from experience. So don't rush into it. Take your time. And you see, if you go for interviews now, and if you can't clear, you'll be losing an opportunity. even let's say you clear the exam interview, you have known the services, even though you clear the interview, if you do not have hands-on, if you have not practiced, it will be very difficult for you to be on the job, and that will be a much more difficult scenario for you. Okay, you can land in bigger trouble. So that's why I say that practice as much as possible, and then go forward. All right. Okay. So that's all. But I would, if you have any questions, you can type the questions. And I think that there, Intellipaat, someone from Intellipaat will take it over from here. Yes, Prakash. You can type the question. Okay, first thing, no, I'll not explain the case study. Sorry, the case study would be explained in the training itself. So yes, Ramnath, you can share. 1 second. Sorry. Apart from that, which cloud company will you prefer for newbies? Definitely AWS, without any doubt. Okay. Yeah, Ramnath, I can unmute you if you have. So Ramnath has something to say from his practical experience, and after that. So someone is asking, I was asked a question by interview, how do you create an alerting mechanism based on DNS name of an EC2 instance? You tell me, how do you do that? Again, if I tell you the answer, I tell you the answer, So the question is, how will you create an alerting mechanism based on DNS name of an EC2 instance? How do you do that? So if you have worked on all the services, so see, what are the services here involved? You have CloudWatch, definitely. You have Route 53 because DNS is there. Then there's EC2. So now, if you try to answer the question directly, then basically the question is not clear. What kind of alerting mechanism? Alerting mechanism for what? Of an EC2 instance. DNS name of an EC2 instance can be anything. Is the alerting mechanism anyway related to the DNS name? So these are the things that you should ask questions again. So this question is very vague. Now these are what to say, intentional for you to gauge whether you can ask cross questions. You don't jump into the solution directly, right? So if you're given a problem, so let's say you have 100 attempts, you should take 98 attempts to ask questions, understand the problem first. Then you use 2 attempts to answer the question, to solve the problem. Now here, how do you create an alerting mechanism based on DNS name of an EC2 instance? It does not say anything whatsoever. What kind of alert? Is it related to the DNS name? If yes, what? DNS name does not have any alerting. How do you create alerting for DNS name? It's not possible. Can you create an alert for www.google.com? No. What alert do you need? So you cannot, that's why, see, if you jump to the answer directly, again, if there's an interviewer like me, let's say, I would say, okay, you might have mugged up, you have you have not understood the services properly. So is it about uptime, whether the service is up or not, then you can use CloudWatch. It is only about uptime. If it is not about uptime, if it is about application, then you can use CloudWatch logs. For example sake, I'm saying, okay, don't, these are not the answers because I don't know the exact question. Okay, so definitely if you answer CloudWatch, I would say you are wrong, because the question itself is not correct. It's not clear. I mean, the question might be correct, it is very vague. Okay, Ramnath, yes, the word file would be shared. So Ramnath, you can share your advice. I've unmuted you, and someone from Intellipaat will take over. Okay. Okay, if you don't have any questions, I'll make someone the organizer. Just a second.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. No, can't hear you. Sorry.
Is there audio problem?
Now it's okay.
Okay. So what I was suggesting is that focus on getting a job which basically produces the network products and uses AWS as a platform to do it, so they can leverage their existing background. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay, so sounds good.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, folks, thank you then. I will log off and someone from Intellipaat will take over. So all the best for your quest in AWS. Thank you.
Anandu, we can see your screen now. So please open the browser and click on that mic option to go ahead and speak. Anandu, we are not able to hear you, so you'll have to click on that mic option. If you see on the right hand side, there's a red icon with the mic. You'll have to click on that.
Yeah, I'm audible now? Yes, perfect. Yeah. So hello everyone, this is Anandu. I'm a senior learning consultant from Intellipaat. So I hope you are doing all grades and everything, and you had gone through the entire course which had been presented during the webinar session. So here I will give you a glimpse about the course of AWS course, that what are the courses that we are offering to make your career into a particular field. So there are several domains when it comes to AWS, since that is one of the most used domain in the market as of now for the cloud domain. So approximately 60% of the organization is working on the AWS. The first thing is that it is very much easy to use. The second thing, much more affordable. And one of the most important factor is that it is being acceptable. It is very much easy and convenient to work on it. So there are separate several courses individually, like AWS Solution Architect. If you want to get into the development of a field, then AWS Developer, then a particular course for only for the migration parts. But if you're really looking for a career opportunity in the market, that also especially into the competitive environment, then you should be the person who can handle the multiple projects. Because whenever you go for an interview or whenever you go for any of the job opportunities, the organization want you to be work on the multiple projects. Okay, because to be very frankly, because you will be not working on single project. If you're working on the developer point of view, at last you have to work on the CI/CD pipelines of integrations and deployment. That has to be done on the Jenkins tool, which is a DevOps part, and DevOps is an automation tool. So if any of the organization is working on the AWS cloud, definitely they are also working on the DevOps platform too. That is an automation. Okay. So it is very much important that, okay, through the AWS, from the AWS, you should know the automation tools and everything. And it's not like that you will be working on only one particular department, that is solution architect. No, you will be working out the entire departments, even entire prospect, even entire point of view of the course, even on point of view of developer also, point of view of administration, the cloud migration, AWS DevOps, where the DevOps tools and its integration portion is being coming. So to secure a perfect job or to secure a job in the market for a longer term, you have to know the AWS entire portions. And through that AWS, you can also become a cloud architect master too. Okay, so for that point of view, we are offering this AWS master certification training, okay, which have 9 courses. And among those 9 courses, you can see my screen. So over here, the right hand side, you will see the online classrooms where it is mentioned as AWS developer, SysOps, solution architect, cloud migration, DevOps, and okay, yeah, AWS DevOps, DevOps separately. And the entire course of the DevOps will be in collaboration with IBM. You will be getting training directly from IBM under the IBM certified expert. Even the DevOps engineer certificate will also be issued by IBM, which will be a global certificate. Along with that, we will provide you the Linux course and Azure 900 course, because it is very much important that you should know the Azure platform also. Since you are not only going to work on the AWS cloud, many of the organization is being now currently using hybrid cloud also. So along with AWS, they are using Azure also. So it's a beneficial part that you should know the little bit of advanced thing about the Azure, a little bit fundamental things, so that you can work on both the platforms. So the entire 9 course will be get offered to you. And yes, definitely there will be the project works also, which will be a real-time industry-based live project. Okay, and you will be getting an entire access to the tools and everything to work on this project works with all the live sessions. Okay, so this will be of a 251 hours of live session, which is segregated into weekend time. So the classes will be on Saturday and Sunday, and the timing will be 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. So any doubt here till anyone? Okay, no problem. So I will proceed it further. Okay, so what happens over is that once you enroll for the course, you will be getting an access to the LMS portal, which is stated as a learning management system portal. Okay, so this particular LMS portal is everything for you, even the backups, the recorded session videos for your revision purpose, everything. Okay, so once you enrolled for the course, you will be having an access to the LMS portal within 1 hour, and already the self-paced course of the entire course will be there. So before starting the live session, if you watch these videos, you will have a fair understanding about the domain. Okay, and whatever the class that you will be attending, even if you attended or if you missed any class, no problem. The entire sessions will be get recorded and will be uploaded in your LMS portal within 24 hours. So you can do a revision anytime. And access to the portal is for the lifetime. Okay, so you can look into all this course contents by coming into the Intellipaat website. So you just only have to type www.intellipaat.com, and there will be a one search bar option which will be stated like this. To know more about the course, click on that course link given below. Or you can see a search bar option where it will be stated search from 150 plus expert made. And just type AWS, it will show a couple of courses and you will find AWS masters over there. Okay, and you will be moving into a step-by-step process. So you will be starting from a very basic scratch level so that you can have the entire knowledge about the fundamental portion, because unless and until you are not clear about the basic concept, you will not be able to work on its advanced part also, where the virtual private clouds, the elastic cloud computing, the migrations, the integration part of the AWS and its automation tool. You won't be able to work unless and until you don't have the basic things. Okay, so you can see over here, if I look into the AWS SysOps, then it is starting from introduction to AWS, cloud computing, networking, and everything. So you will be starting with a very basic scratch level and then make it to the advanced part. During the very first live session itself, the trainer will intimate you how to get access to the tools and everything. So you can do a practical things along with the trainer also. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can raise your doubt also during the live session, just like we are holding a webinar session now, the same way. So it will be a two-way interactive session. Okay, and it's not like it is only one time attendable. There is no restrictions on that. You can attempt the live session n number of times you want. Okay, so many of the candidates are being working professionals. So sometimes it happens that you are not able to attend Saturday or Sunday session, or you attended the session but not clear about the topic. No problem. As a backup, one option is available in the LMS portal, the recorded one. You can watch it anytime. But if you think, no, I don't want to watch the recorded one, I want to attend that same topic live session again, you can do that. There is no restrictions on the course completion. You can take your own time to complete the course. Attempt the live session n number of times you want till you understand the concept. Okay. Yeah. So the same way it will be. So first you will be covering the AWS developer portion. Once you complete the entire live session of AWS developer, then you will be working on the live project of AWS developer also. So I will show you the course content of AWS developer, where you will be starting with introduction to cloud, and you will be working on the computing networking parts and everything. And once you scroll down a little bit on that portion, you will be seeing the project works also that you will be doing. So you can see a couple of multiple projects are over there, where you will be working on the deployment part, the website orchestration part, like this. So minimum 2 projects will be there. Maximum, it is totally depends upon you. So if you think that, okay, before attempting the interview, you should want to work on more number of projects so that you can make yourself on expertise into that, you can take more number of projects also. You will be having the entire access to the tools to work on the projects. You will be getting in support also from Intellipaat side. So if you stuck anywhere, no problem, my support team and my trainers are available for you 24/7. Okay. Yeah. And once you complete the project works, you will submit it. Expert will review on that, and they will be giving you the glimpse that, okay, where you have to improve it and what is the area where you need to focus much more. Okay. After completion of the projects, there will be one online quiz also happening, especially for AWS developer. And in that quiz, you have to score minimum 60%. So this particular quiz is not just for the certification part. This particular quiz will also test you how much you grab the knowledge about the program or knowledge about the AWS cloud domain. So scoring at 80%, it means that, okay, you are a person who can work on the projects of the AWS also, even into the real organization too. Because definitely these the cloud domains of everything, including the practical sessions, the live project, everything will make you expert on that. Okay, so scoring a 60% is an easy part. That's not a problem. Okay, the problem is about the giving an 100% expertise into, or your 100% efforts into the timing to complete these projects or to get understand the concepts. Okay, once you complete the project, you will submit it. Expert will review on that. After that, an online quiz will be happening. Once you complete the online quiz, you will get a separate course completion certificate of developer from Intellipaat side. Then you will be moving to the another course, that is AWS SysOps. The same way you will be completing the remaining course too. Okay, so now you can make it flexible according to you also. So if you think that no, I will be giving an entire quiz of at last only after completion of the course, definitely you can do that. Or you can go with one by one process way also. Okay, I will show you the certifications also. You will find the one IBM certification. This particular is for the DevOps certification. And this particular will you get directly from issued by IBM, which will be stated with global certification also. Okay, and we will also prepare you for the global examination of AWS if you are willing to go for that. The quiz that will be given over here, the project works and everything will make you expertise into it. Okay, and in case if you are for future looking for a job prospective view also, Intellipaat will help you with the job assistance. So Intellipaat have tie-up with more than 80 plus MNCs, and we are having the alumni also working these companies. Okay, so we will be scheduling an interview with these companies. So the entire process of the job assistance will start with your resume building. So first, my team will be building your resume, and your all the works over here on the live projects, practical, everything will be get reflected in that particular resume, and it will be get shared or it will be get uploaded in a particular job portal, a separate dedicated job portal. Even you will also get registered into that so that you can have the entire update that from where, which company your resume has been shared and what is the status of the resume. Okay, and before sending the resume to these 80 plus MNCs, you will be having a mock interview also, so that you get prepared, fully prepared for your interviews. And once it has been prepared, the resumes will be get shared to these 80 plus MNCs from that portal, and my team will start scheduling an interview with these companies for you. Okay, and this access to the course is for lifetime. There is no expiry for it, even though you will be having a lifetime free upgradation also. Okay, because what happened is that AWS, not only AWS, the cloud is a very much competitive domain, and the upgradation keeps on happens. Okay, since AWS is currently leading in the market, but we can't predict that, okay, which cloud will be taking over. So to maintain the market, to have a good percentage or to have a good market share, the upgradation keeps on happening. Might be that, okay, any of the new tool is being getting upgraded to next level, like Kubernetes tool, which comes into the DevOps platform. That tool will get upgraded after 6 months or after 1 year. No problem. You will be having a lifetime free upgradations. You can learn this tool anytime. You don't have to go with any extra payment or any other additional enrollment for that. If any of the course of AWS is been getting upgraded to next level, you can do the entire upgradation totally free of cost. Okay, you will be having a lifetime access even after the course completion also. If you want to again attempt the live session after 1 year, after 2 years, if you want to again attempt the live session, you can do that. You will be having that access also. Okay, so any doubt or any query? Anyone? Okay, no problem. So I will conclude this course with the offers and everything. So yes, currently, yeah, if you wish to go for the individual courses, no problem. We have the individual courses also. You just only need to come to the Intellipaat website. There you can see, you have to type www.intellipaat.com. You will come to this particular home page. Here you just type AWS, click on the search option. You will find all the courses over here of AWS. And here you can see the AWS Masters. It is beneficial that you go for the combined courses, because definitely whenever you go for the interviews, the organization doesn't want you to be work on the one project, because based on only one certification, it is very difficult to get the job. So it's a beneficial, or it's a good point, or it's a positive point, an advantage point if you have a multiple certifications on that. And you can click on this particular courses, you will see the entire course details, including its course content, the project works, everything. Okay, and we are starting a new batch from this coming 12th of December. Okay, so since you all had attended the webinar session, so I would like to give a discounted offer also for you. So this discounted offer will be valid till tomorrow 2 p.m. And in case if you are enrolling for this particular AWS master course, you will be getting a 40% discount on the price which is mentioned in the website. Okay, and in case if you wish to go for a single course also, no problem, you can go with that also. Okay, you will be getting a 30% discount on that. And this discounted offer will be valid till 2 p.m. You can contact me anytime. I will do one thing, I will share you my contact number also. So you can note down my contact number. It is 704 3626 118. So I will put that into this chat session also. I hope you all can see this particular chat session. My name is Anandu. It is 704 3626 118. Even I will mention my mail ID too. So you can contact me anytime. I will be available. You can also drop me a mail also, or you can directly call to me. No problem. We will have a detailed discussion about the course, and we will go with the discounted offers that you would be wanting. Okay. So any more doubts? I'm welcoming for more doubts or query.
Another quick question.
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm already on the master course, right? So when do my next course will start? Because I just completed the associate architect. Do I get a notification from Intellipaat that information on when my next track will start? For example, the DevOps.
Definitely. Yeah. So has the projects and everything is been completed on the solution architect associate?
No, I haven't yet. So they said something that I need to, because maybe that because of my tight work schedule, I haven't had a chance to do that. So is that something that I get an opportunity to complete it and then go for initiate the next one, or?
Yes, definitely. So in case, in case if the live session has already completed, no problem. You can do one thing. You can just drop a mail to the support team. Okay, just drop a mail to support team by mentioning the same concern that I had completed the entire live session of solution architect and the project's work is remaining. You can put me on CC. The mail ID put me on CC. So I will do a follow-up from my side also.
Okay. Got it.
I will be informing the team to look into this particular mail and to get it solved as soon as possible by today itself.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, and in case if the project is completed, no problem. We will proceed with further for the certification and make you enroll for this DevOps batch. That's not a problem.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. So any more queries? feel free to ask any queries if it's related for the ongoing batch or any of the course or any of the job assistance process also. Please feel to ask. Okay, so I believe there is no more doubt because I can't see any of the doubts on the chat session also. Okay, no problem. So anyways, thank you all. I hope I will get in touch with you soon if you're really interested for the course, and particularly, yes, this particular course will be a very much beneficial for you since it is much more high on demand in the market, because currently all the MNCs are being referring to the AWS, and this is an entry point to the cloud sector also. So if anyone is want to make a plan or have a planning to career into it particular field, then AWS will be a perfect course for you. Just like the presenter, Mr. Day has been stated, if he is recommending the AWS as a perfect course or AWS as a perfect field, then definitely it have a something valuable in the market. Because Azure, Google Cloud, all things are being coming up only, but AWS has already established their market in the cloud domain. So there is a lot of huge opportunities and a lot of openings going on. But before going for the openings and attending for the interviews, it is very much important to have the real-time experience into it by working on the projects and trained into entire tools and everything. And we will provide you that experience. And definitely, in case if you have any queries, feel free to contact me directly or to my mail ID that I had shared in the chat box. Okay, yeah. Good night and have a nice day all. Yeah, I had completed, so you can carry forward it further.